Every single time I've tried to do this story in the last 24 hours, it has moved so fast that I can hardly keep up. Just being honest, this is a quick moving story of what's going on in Richmond, Virginia right now. So I'm just going to give the quick rundown version because I feel like I've already done this 100 times. Uh, well, probably just five, but that's still a lot for me. So Tuesday, the governor declared Virginia to be in a state of emergency, and he said that there would be an emergency gun restriction on basically Virginia's Capitol Hill, going from the 17th through the 21st. So this coincidentally bans guns during this huge gun rights rally that's going to be on Monday, the 20th, which is also Martin Luther King Day and Virginia Lobbyist Day. So that's pretty normal lobby day for Virginia. Now, every single year, the Virginia Citizens Defense League hosts a gun rights rally near Capitol grounds, right? It might be on Capitol grounds. I'm really not certain where they usually host it, but it's in the presence of the Capitol building. It's a small Virginia group, just a lot of people open carrying their guns to show their support for the Second Amendment, open carry rights, and that Virginia is a big state of people who like guns. It's a gun advocacy group. This is what they do. It happens all the time. It's in Virginia. That's not weird. I don't know. Most other places, maybe it is, but I've seen a lot of these rallies before. Now, the reason why this year is different is because Northam has proposed some more stringent gun control laws for this coming congressional season. I went in depth on them a couple episodes ago in Ralph Northam versus the state of Virginia. If you're curious about the specifics, just go to Spotify and listen to it because I'm not going to go through it all over again. Just to say, it makes owning basically anything other than a revolver a class 6 felony. And I mean, when it really comes down to it, that's the truth. Anything other than a revolver in terms of self-defense weapons is a class 6 felony. It also gives a lot more money to private jails and prisons in the state because they expect there to be a lot of people who don't comply. But I'm not going to go any further into that because, frankly, I don't have time. So like I said, pop over to Spotify if you want to hear more about that. So, state of emergency, coincidentally, there's a gun ban that's going to be happening on Capitol Hill from the 17th through the 21st. Only one problem with that. If you look at the, I'll make sure to link this to you guys so that you get to see it. In the Emergency Services and Disaster Laws of Virginia, you can find this in a PDF format on Google, or I'll show you screenshots here if you're watching on Facebook video or YouTube. You'll see right there on page 6, section 3, it says that this shall not be used for the governor to limit people's ability to keep and bear arms as is laid out in the Virginia Declaration of Rights and the Constitution of the United States. It says it very specifically. This is not to be used to limit people's Second Amendment powers. That includes the power to sell, transfer, or trade firearms as well. So, kind of silly you declare a state of emergency where it outlines specifically in the bill that this actually gives people more rights to carry guns, not less. The only exception being that you can't carry guns into a building used as refuge for people seeking shelter or for the governor himself. So if shit hits the fan, then yeah, it's illegal to carry guns inside the Capitol. So it is what it is. Section 2 of that on that page 6 as well says that the state of emergency cannot be used to limit the abilities of the press, and again grants more freedoms to the press if you continue reading further in the document. For that reason, I will be there for you on Monday. Not that I expect you to be there for me. What I'm saying is I'll be live streaming the events happening this Monday on Vince Polson of Common Criminal Podcast. That's the name of the Facebook page. So if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I don't know, you want to go ahead and like the Facebook page. It'll tell you when I go live. I'll be there recording all day. I'll go live if anything goes crazy. If the boogaloo starts, if people start shooting, then yeah, then you'll get the notification that I'm going live, so you can only expect bad news. So, fingers crossed. I hope I don't get shot. I hope I don't get shot in the back. That's the main one that I worry about. But yeah, so I'll be there. For the sake of anybody who's not off of work or is afraid to be there, I just want to make sure that I trust myself and I trust my own eyes and my own ears. I'd really like to be there to see this for myself. It could be a truly historic event. Now, the reason why the governor declared the state of emergency is because intelligence officers intercepted communication between right-wing extremist groups. And then the FBI proceeded to arrest 3 supposedly Nazi guys who were talking about purchasing guns and driving down to Richmond. But they didn't arrest them in Virginia, is my understanding. So, sure, yeah, I guess there's something to it. I guess they're Nazis, and they were planning to be there with guns, and the FBI arrested them. I mean, they must have been plotting something. You can't just arrest somebody because they're planning to attend a rally. That said, I don't know why it took intelligence services to arrest or to find these guys, because I've actually intercepted right-wing extremist coordinated communications by just going to the Mr. Guns and Gear Facebook page. Now, I usually really like this page. Usually they're, strong pro 2A advocates. Any infraction is an infraction of the Second Amendment, and if that's how you feel, there's a lot of people who feel that way. I get that. But even still, they've gone way too far, even by my standards, and I literally call myself a criminal. Look at this. Look at this. So last night, they've been posting updates. Obviously, they really don't like Ralph Northam. I really don't blame him. I think that guy is a fucking psycho. But if you look at some of the stuff they're putting on here, they're talking about this black security fencing that they just put up around the Capitol last night. They posted the article last night. They were probably doing it during the day yesterday. But they outline in the article that this black security fencing is usually used for military training purposes, so they'll secure an area that they consider a security threat. They'll do their coordinated training drills, and they don't want people to know what their plan of defense is, basically. And then it doubles as a nice security fence. And so Mr. Guns and Gear says, well, I guess, they're really expecting something to happen. I mean, why is the governor declaring a state of emergency if he thinks guns shouldn't be on the Capitol building, why call in the National Guard to defend him with guns? Which is the old timeless argument of any pro-2A person, is that politicians want to take guns away from the people, yet they always have armed security. Honestly, I think that is a fair argument. That's a super fair argument. You shouldn't get to have armed security because you're rich enough to afford it. But then they immediately go too fucking far, man. Like the Guns and Gear page, seriously, you're making it harder for normal people. And when the fucking cameras show up and CNN and MSNBC are framing this, and then they say, oh, it's the Ryobi angle grinder on Amazon Prime. You can buy it. It'll be there by Sunday, and it's battery powered. Anybody own one of these? Anyone know where I can? What the fuck, dude? You're talking about how crazy they are for trying to ban guns, about right-wing extremists, and then you're implicitly saying we're getting an angle grinder so we can cut down the security fence. Are you out of your fucking mind? That is a bad look. It's a bad look for gun owners, and it's a bad look for any Facebook page, man. I'm very pro 2A, but honestly, you're being an asshole. Cut it out. I got nothing else. That's how I feel about it. Yes, I'm very much for 100,000 pro Second Amendment advocates open carrying and flexing their Second Amendment rights in the face of a guy who's acting like a freaking dictator. I am 100% for that. I am 1,000% against implicitly saying you're going to storm the Capitol building on a Facebook group with 250,000 people. You are making it worse. You're goading the police into making it worse. And when the shooting starts, that's on you. I got a little heated there. So I apologize. That might have been a little extra. But yeah, if you're goading the police and apparently I guess the FBI, since they're paying attention, if you're posting stuff like this and then saying like, well, they're unconstitutionally arresting people for planning to attend a rally. No, you're being a... Well, I should probably bleep that out. I probably will. Anyway, obviously I'm a little too close to this to be cool, so I'm just going to stop here. And again, remind you, if you want to see the live stream, you have to go to Vince Polson of Common Criminal Podcast on Facebook, hit the like button, and you'll get a notification when the live stream starts. So no news is good news, and I'll post the highlights. I'm sure I'll do a video afterwards. But if you see that live stream come on, I'll post videos to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, as it's going on, and I'll do an episode about it afterward. But if you see that live stream notification come on, it's because shit is actively hitting the fan, and everybody, deserves a front row ticket to that, so they can see it for themselves before the media bias comes in to tell you what they think happened. I guess I'll just leave it there. This is Common Criminal Podcast. I'm your host, Vince Polson. Thanks for listening.